Hi, you guys, and welcome to the last day. This is it. The last day of the 28-day challenge. We did it. We did it. We did it. Right before this, I did this amazing meditation introduction with spirit, opening the container, setting the protective forces around us. And I almost wanted to stop it because it was so profound. And I was like, should I be recording this? And they're like, no, this is just for you. And, you know, I'm so grateful. And that's the one thing that just came, oh, my whole body's like, I just feel like I have 100,000 energies hugging me right now, which is probably why they had me wear this sweater. This is like, look at the shoulder pads on this. I kind of chill them out sometimes, but this is a vintage rabbit fur sweater. And it's so warm and fuzzy, and every time I touch it, I just feel good. And I thank the animals that sacrificed their life for this. I have so much to say, and first and foremost, I just want everyone to relax. That's what I just got from our spirit guides, was they're like, just relax. Like, almost like, even for me, they're like, take off your hat, stop being so formal. Like, I almost wasn't going to wear makeup today. And then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw on a little bit of lipstick just to be like, here I am, like, this is me, kind of thing. But it's funny, as I'm looking at myself right now, I'm like, I don't even know really what isn't me. I feel like we're such shapeshifters, and we've been shapeshifting this whole entire 28-day challenge has been like us shapeshifting. We've been like going in and out. And when I was preparing for this episode, let me see what you guys can see. You can see, I know the lighting's not super great, but I really wanted to be more natural lighting today. Spirit may have me put a filter on this. I don't know. But the first 3 days I wrote down what we were doing, and then I just stopped. And then I was like, oh, I'm not going to go back and do it all. And then today, when I was trying to, I kept asking our guides, I was like, what are we going to study today? Like, what's on the agenda today? And I was asking all these different times and at different moments. I was like, so what's today? What's today? And I got nothing. It was blank. It was like wind, nothing. Then they told me to have some tea. And do you remember this mug? The treat yourself mug, right? So they said, just kick back, relax. And they said, why don't you just review what you went over the last 28 days? Just review it. I was like, okay, I can do that. And then when I realized that it wasn't in here, I went to the Patreon page, and every single solitary day is listed in there. Beautifully, beautifully. And remember in the beginning I said I wasn't sure if we were going to do it. I would delete them. And so every time I'd say, because I've been building a folder. There is a folder now as of today. Once this is posted, I'll be able to complete it, but I've been building a unlisted folder that I'm going to post on Patreon. But I don't think I am going to take off the 28 days. I think they're meant to be there in order like that, because not every day was a class. We had days where we watched movies. We had days where we meditated. There was a lot of different things that were happening during our 28-day challenge. So I think the Patreon is in real time, and I feel like, Amber's the only one that I sent a specific thing to every day. The rest of it's up there, and I feel like now Amber has the links herself. Like, she can refer to them, whenever she wants to. And Amber, I can always send you the link for the 28, you know what I mean? But I just thought, I really do understand what this was all about. It was waking the witch. that's really what it's been about. It's been about waking the witch. And it's interesting. I'm going to actually write that down because I didn't have anything like that. How do you want me to do it? I was like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Waking the witch. So I think it's interesting. Waking the witch. I mean, I know I've said that before, but you know how you could say something a million times and then it hits you that one time in a way that you're like, what is that? You know, that's what I feel like right now. Because that's what I feel like my Patreon channel is going to be about, you know. It's going to be $13 a month. And I think what I'll do is, well, I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now. They're talking to me and they're saying like, I don't want to waste our precious time with this. However, I do want to say that I feel like each day we were given such great gifts that I love that we'll be able to go back and reflect on something. I'm actually excited as well to send it to a few of my very close, they do what I do, you know, so that they can watch it when they want to. Because I feel like there were many times where certain people would come to mind, but I feel like they need to go on the journey on their own. 647 is our angel number. Ooh. So anyway, the best part about it is it's a 28-day challenge. Shit, what did I say? 647. Thank you, Spirit. Ooh, I feel like 647 is our it's almost like the angel number for the whole thing. That's very interesting. It's very interesting because that's the number 17. Oh shit, that's fucking Zoe's number is 17. You know how 42 comes up for you, Jessica? 17's like Zoe's thing. So yeah, I'm gonna send this to her too. But anyway, just really powerful fucking shit's been coming through, and I love that I have today's Tuesday and then I have 2 days to relax, and then Friday I'm going to reconnect with Jules, who I always talk about, and they just had a really profound experience with family over the summer, and so I'm just really kind of excited, but I'm just really excited to see where this takes all of us, because the things I got from Spirit were gratitude. Thank you, Moon Journal. Okay, so I have not drank tea in a while. I pretty much just drink shungite water every day, all day long. That's pretty much it. And then I make and brew tea here and there, but like not as much as I used to. I used to every single morning. So today, when I was treating myself, Spirit led me to 2 different yogi teas, and I really don't like the box tea. Now that I've been doing loose fresh tea, I really don't like it, but I keep it up for guests, you know, especially the yogi teas. When people come over, they like their little messages, you know. So I was drawn to 2 today, to drink 2 different ones. The first one I drank was lemon ginger, and then the second one was ginger. And obviously my stomach's kind of messed up. And they want me to sidebar and tell you that when I started this, I just want you guys to know, FYI, when this started, I felt like a shit show. And so I thought by the end of this, I was going to feel like a fucking rock star. I was going to take on the world, blah, blah. And now I'm like, I am so tired. I am so exhausted. I fear that I have lost my balance in a lot of ways, but I love the grounding energy of Virgo, that now in the next phase and this rest and rejuvenation and reflection period before the new moon, we have time to really relax, and that we are also in the hermit season, which is Virgo is the hermit. So hermits are all about like going inward, and you know, it's the end of the summer, it's, you know, we're going into fall. So it's that time for us to rest, because once fall starts, that's harvest. And that means that, you know, it's like we spent all of, you know, spring planting the seeds, you know, putting our intentions out there into the world kind of thing. And then summer, you know, we've been doing the work, resting, playing, having fun, but you know, it's kind of nonstop, right? We've got the sunlight for most of us, depending on where you live in, obviously northern and southern hemisphere, I'm sorry, but take from it what you need, leave behind what you don't kind of thing, because everybody's lessons are different anyway. But I know for our tribe, for the tribe that's watching this right now, I don't know who else will watch it, but I feel like, we have been in a more of like a summer energy, right? So we've had more sun, and that's exhausting. It really takes a lot out of you. So I love that like the last 3 weeks of summer are for us to just enjoy, and also to like groove into the fucking transition, because, every single season we have, 3 months, right? With the 12 months of the year, even though we have the 13 moons, we have the 12 months of the year, that's my birthday is 12/13. How did I never put that fucking together till now? I'm 49, which is also 13. Very interesting. And what is 49? 7 times 7, right? Like, so I've gone through like and I'm fully going into my crone, and I feel it. Like, I really, really feel it. And I'm starting to see so many things and understand like what's happening, and how important these kind of events are for our soul, to go on these kind of like triathlon, spiritual triathlons like we did. The 28-day challenge is not for the faint of heart. It's for people who are like, I really want change in my life. I really want to make a difference. What do I need, Spirit? Bring me the messages, show me the signs, all that great stuff. And before I read these, by the way, this has been like screaming at me. Do you remember when we had, the hummingbird? Now we have our hummingbird that Anna gave us. And I have to show you guys. Oh my gosh, this is the best. I got to be careful because I earlier I went to reach across the fire and I was like, it smells like burning hair. And then I was like, oh, my sweater. I'm like, oh, I was like, I don't want to smell burning animals. Anyway, Anna, remember when I said I wasn't, oh, and thank you to the fly. Another one came back. I was like, you want to go outside, or are you here for, and I got the vibe they were going to like show up. So that is actually really, really awesome. But anyway, getting back to the hummingbird, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but there's so much energy. There's so many things to talk about, but I feel like you guys can groove with my vibe. Okay. Right. So I wasn't sure what this was going to be for until the native animal spirit deck. Ooh, look at that. The blue heron's on the bottom, which is 45, which is the number 9. Anna, this was the very first deck that was gifted to me by a very powerful witch. She gifted me this deck, and I had wanted it for a really long time, but I didn't like the box. I had to keep putting it in and out of the box, and it was flimsy or whatever, and I have not really had anything that fit it. And I had it in one of these. Let me get this out. I don't know if you guys remember, but I had it in one of these, but I had to like kind of smush it down in there. Then I thought, oh, I'll put it in like a bag like this. No, it just never, ever, ever, ever felt right. And it was like, I'm talking to the box. I'm like, what do I want to put in here? I'm like, hummingbird, medicine. And then it was like, bam, without even hesitation. And I mean, they fit in there like they were made for them. So, Sister Witch, I love you so fucking much. I mean, honestly, it's too much almost. It's too amazing. And I love that we had, what day was that? It was day 6 of our challenge. And today when I was like writing down each day, I was just kind of going in this like kind of color thing. I didn't even know that it was going to be the hummingbird. I just grabbed the green and I was like, oh, and I'm like, I don't know. There's just like all this thing with green. And I was pulled to wear like one of my favorite green shirts under here. And, we've been talking about green in the heart chakra. It's just talking about love and connection. And I just feel like this 28-day challenge was amazing. I'll forever be grateful to you guys. And what I want to do with my Patreon is I want to continue on with doing things like this. And we will do more challenges, we will do more things. But on here, the one thing that kept pulling my attention, thank you, hummingbird, was the D.H. Whitman. So that means something to somebody. And it almost looks like a G over there, because these are from, you guys know I had my old store. So some of these are T tags, and then I have like price tags from my old store. So, I don't know who that's for, but that's really significant. And that feels like a G, like for George. So I feel like it might be a grandfather, or maybe some of you are really into Whitman, but that is like really powerful. And then they want to remind us a relaxed mind is a creative mind. The gate to happiness is self compassion. Sing from your heart. May your inner self be happy and secure. Love is to live for somebody. Love is not to live with somebody. That is that. That's like, I don't know if that's going to come around, but let me see if the other one will come out. And then the other one was shoulda, woulda, coulda. Wow, just powerful, just really, really powerful. So here are our messages from today. The universe is within you, bright and beautiful. The universe is within you, bright and beautiful. I don't know if it's going to come up. And I apologize for the lighting. I kind of needed a tame day. Put it in front of my face there. Also, they want me to show you this. Ed found this. He found this on the beach. On a beach that had so many rocks and pebbles, you couldn't even believe it. And somehow he saw this. Really powerful. Okay, so an attitude of gratitude brings opportunities. An attitude of gratitude brings opportunities. Gratitude. That's our theme. That's our closing theme, is gratitude. That's all they want, is for us to have some gratitude. Also, angel number 1641, if that means anything to you guys. I need a haircut. My hair is driving me insane. I feel like on some days I love it and I feel like a really like sexy Rapunzel or something. But other days I'm just like, oh, it's just like a macrame hanger. I'm like, I feel like I just like can hang plants in it or something. It's I almost feel like this has been, every day has been a chore. So I don't know about you guys. Like, I don't know what you've been going through. Please share your information below. I know some of you share on Patreon and some of you share on YouTube. Either way, it's, both welcome, always welcome. We are definitely, the only homework that we have once this is over is the vision board. I really got that strong from spirit. I'm going to actually do that today. Ed and I had a really icky thing this morning, and I know it's because we've both just had enough. It's been a lot, and I've been working a lot, and I'm at the point where, like, if I don't feel respected, or if I feel like my boundaries are being crossed, I'm not super happy with the way I've been handling it. I'm not proud of myself, but I also know it's because I'm not sleeping well. And I feel like this has been a lot. And I told him when this was over that I wanted to go on a camping trip, but now I'm feeling more like I need him to go away. And I need some time to kind of like decompress, be alone. Today I like shoot him out of the house. But I was really frustrated because the Treat Yourself, I was called to go on download the Offer Up app, and that there was something there for me. Long story short, I downloaded the app, I put in my zip code, and I shit you not, one of the first things I saw was a Native American drum for $10. And I was like, what? And I seen it was beautiful. It looked like it was made out of this really cool tree, like the outside was bark, and it was calf skin. I mean, I always hate to like the animals, but according to this person, it was a Native American drum and whatever, and they used it more for decorative, but they're like, it is functional. It's like 9 pounds. It's nice. It's a really nice drum. So I said to Ed, I was like, hey, I'm like, do you think maybe tomorrow, maybe for the last day, I'm like, maybe we should go on an adventure. We can go pick up the drum and, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, and he kind of seemed, and I go, well, if you don't want to go, it's okay. I go, just tell me you don't want to go. And he's like, well, and then as we were talking, I got a message from her, and I said, hey, we live, kind of far. I didn't realize how far you were. And he was a little apprehensive about it. And I was like, dude, it's like $10. I'm like, even if it costs us $15 on gas to get there and back, I'm like, it's a really nice drum. Drums are expensive. I mean, the cheapest drum I've seen around lately is like $60. And I've been looking up musical instruments, and, I'm like getting really serious about my music again. And he's been getting really serious about like his DMT stuff and the ayahuasca, which is awesome. But I don't begrudge what he spends on things. But whenever it seems like I want something, he's always like, ugh. Like he's so put out by it. And it's not about the money, I can tell. It's more like he's like, he doesn't want to drive to go get it. And I was like, what do you want me to do, man? I'm like, I don't have my driver's license. I'm like, I go, I have no freedom. And so I was just like, it's fine, you know, whatever. And he's like, no, if you really want to go get it. And it was like that kind of thing. So then this morning, so I said, you know what? I said, I'll message her and ask her if I can, you know, sleep on it and let her know. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So I wake up this morning and I'm a little grumpy because Bubba had thrown up. Bubba got worms. She doesn't have fleas or anything, but I think she got worms from the kitten that she brought here. She's been bringing all these fucking crazy ass animals here. There was this other dog here. Now she's got a rabbit. When this all started 28 days ago, it's like we had just gotten the new cat who was like 9 months old or something. Or I think he just turned 9 months old. So we had just gotten the cat. Okay. But in that time, we got a new cat. The rooster died. She tried to get a dog. That didn't work out. Then she got a new rooster this last week, and she just got another rabbit. I told you, because she got laid off because she's bored and she has nothing else to do. And I don't know when or how Baba got it. She's been looking thin the last few weeks, but she always looks thin in the summer because she's not as fluffy. And Ed noticed it, and then I noticed it, and we're like, "Are you okay?" And then I was like checking her eyes and everything. She seemed fine. But then I told you guys, I might have said it yesterday whenever I saw it, that I thought she had poop or worms in her poop. And not to be gross, I'm sorry. But anyway, so like I'm dealing with that. Like I feel like I've been doing this every day, keeping the house up, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I know he works hard, but at the same time, I'm like, when he needs or wants something, I'm like, if that's what you need, man, I'm like, that's cool. If it's a big purchase, like we talk about stuff, but it just seemed like he just didn't care. And I'm like, why do I have to go into a whole story of why I want the drum? You know, like to reward myself for this, to, you know what I mean? Like, but something that's spiritual that we can use spiritually, but that I can also use for music. And so this morning I said, hey, I go, I guess she has a lot of replies, you know, obviously it's a really good deal. I said, do you want to go? Do you want to, he's like, I don't know why she said Milton. And he goes into this whole thing because she offered to meet us halfway, which is so fucking nice. She's like, she was just, you can just tell she just had a really good energy. She was a nice lady. She's like, we're moving, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's more for like gas money. Obviously, if she wanted to make money off of it, she would have sold it for more. So he just went into this whole thing, and I could just tell not that he forgets, but he like ignores the fact that I'm a fucking empath and a telepath, and that I can tell what he's thinking and feeling and saying. The truth, not what he's like putting in front of me, but what's actually happening. And so he goes into this whole tirade about like driving and that she doesn't know what she's talking about, and it's not halfway there. And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm like, she knows where she lives, and I told her we were in, you know, where we live, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, and so I just go, I get it. You don't want to go. Just say you don't want to go, because you don't want to go. I'm like, just say you don't want to go. And he's like, so about that. He's like, I mean, if you want the drop. And I was like, I go, I'm done. I was like, that's it. I just like lost it. And I go, and I just like messaged her and I said, thank you so much. I go, please give it to the next person in line. I go, there, it's done. I don't have the fucking drum. Are you happy now? And he's like, no, I'm not happy. And I go, well, you know what? I go, I can't do this. I go, I know you're frustrated. I'm frustrated too. We're tired of living in here. I go, I know, because the weather has turned. Obviously, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt and a sweater. You know what I mean? Like it went down to like 60. And he goes through these like mood things where he's not dealing, when he doesn't deal with shit, he's really passive aggressive. So this morning, sorry, what I was getting back to my story. So this morning I woke up to him, oh, like, you know when something runs out of a squirt bottle and it starts making that crank 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 crank, like that really annoying sound? He was doing that. I swear I counted 30 times. And I'm like, you know when you're like starting to like wake up more, so you're more cognizant, and I'm just like, oh my god, stop it, it's obviously there's nothing in there. It's like that person who's like sucking on a straw and you're like, oh my god, like just open it and drink it, like stop. And that's what it was. But with him it was really passive aggressive because obviously Bubba had thrown up. But I've been giving her things to help her, like apple cider vinegar and coconut oil and all these like natural things of people that I trust, and working with my pendulum and spirit, trying to rid her body of this parasite. So last night I was working with Baba really intensely. We were doing some really hardcore Reiki on her. And so it doesn't surprise me that she threw up this morning. So I can hear it. He's like, he's like so frustrated, you know. You see, I'm sleeping. It's happening like right behind me. So obviously I'm going to hear like all of it. He sleeps like the dead. I don't. And I just am at that point where I'm like, dude, it's more than us just living in here. I'm like, you're going through something, but you're not dealing with it. And it's like all in my fucking orbit. And I just said to spirit, I'm like, I'm done. Like I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to do. Like I'm like, I'm at my wit's end. You know what I mean? I'm like, you've got to get us out of here. You just got to get us out of here. I'm like, there's just like no other way. So I feel like this 28-day challenge has helped me to work through things naturally, but to also kind of take a breath and think about what I'm doing and think about what I'm saying. I'm going much more like at a natural pace than I have before. Before I would try and force something or control it, or you know, constantly monitoring it. And I realized with him over the last week, we've been falling back into this like really weird unhealthy pattern, and it's like old stuff. So I thought it was really interesting that when I started preparing for this, you know how spirit gives me the music, one of the very first songs they played was "We Gotta Get Out of This Place if it's the last thing we ever do." And it's like, we gotta get out of this place, girl, there's a better life for me and you, right? But on the picture, like, you know, when I look at the Pandora, the cover of the album, it was like the third something, blah, blah, blah. And I got what spirit was trying to say. Like, we've got to get out of this third dimensional energy. So if you're going through that, like if you and your significant other or your children or whatever, your friends, coworker, family, if you're having like a lot of like bump up against that's super uncomfortable, really pay attention to what spirit's trying to tell you. Because the other day I witnessed something, like there's been so much drama around here that I'm like, I'm like, wow, okay. But karma's a bitch. We stirred up a lot of drama last year around this time. But also, Ed mentioned the other day, he's like, wow. I was like, wow, you're still in the hospital a year ago right now. He's like, I know. And he's like, and then the fires, right? And I'm like, yeah. So, like, in a week from now, it'll be a year that we had that crazy heat wave and all those fires happened here. And Ed had just got out of the hospital and he could barely breathe. Like, we had a really tumultuous year. So I feel like he's bringing up stuff. And Mercury's going into retrograde at the end of September. But you know how they always have like the shadow? It's like the 3 weeks. It's almost like really, it's not just 3 weeks. It's more like 9 weeks. It's more like 8 or 9 weeks. So it doesn't surprise me that like certain things are coming back up. So if you're noticing that certain energies and certain arguments and certain things are coming back up, they're coming back up for a reason. And so spirit's giving us a chance to kind of like look at it again, just like the 28-day challenge. It's like, it will always be here for us. It will always be here for us to go back to those lessons, right? To like, you know, like what day really stuck out to you? What lesson really stuck out to you? I mean, for me, when I was writing them down, I was like, I mean, I would have to teach 4 hours to like go through every single day again, even if I just did like a short thing of each day, because that's 4 weeks. That's like a full, you know, cycle of change. So, you know, tenacity, my mind or my eyes went right to August 11th, of course, because that's when Ed's accident and all that, and 11's our number, but it's also day 8, infinity. But tenacity, remember we learned about tenacity, Cypress, angel number 6, or no, number 6 in numerology, which is success, peace, happiness, communication, being highly creative, harmony restored, new opportunities, hard work paying off after a hardship, the 5, right? 5's change, transformation, that's hard, right? And then recharging. So then we learned about the wisdom of the tall ones, you know, about the tree medicine. So today is the last day of our challenge, and it's August 31st, which is also 13 backwards, but 3 and 1 is 4, and 4s are all about balance, and 28 is 10. 8 plus 2 is 10, and 10's about completion. The end, a new start, karma, conclusion, good or bad, a good or bad ending, depending on the suit of the card. Because this is like, depending on if you're, working with tarot or, some oracle cards. Contentment, improvement, new chapter, staying positive, seeing the bright side of things, all beginnings coming to an end at some point. Right? Because something has to start, but then it has to end, just like us. Like, and what about Bob when he's like, Bob, the little boy says to Bob, do you ever think about death? And he's like, oh yeah, all the time. And he's like, we're going to die. He's like, all of us are going to die. You can't escape it. It's inevitable. It's just out there. And he starts to like, and he's so young. I think he's like 8 or 9, And, Bob was actually a really great gift to him. And segueing back to my story, what about Bob? Her ex, his name is Bob. And I think you guys have heard me talk about him. He comes here like all the time, like almost every day for some reason or other. So it didn't hit me until the other day. I said to Ed, I go, oh my God, it's Bob. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, because every time I think he's gone, like it'll be nice and peaceful here. I'm whispering because he could be there right now. And when it's really quiet around here, you can hear me talking if you're standing outside. So I said, oh my God, I go, remember that scene? I go, they're like, well, Bob left. And he goes, he didn't leave. He never leaves. And he opens the door and he goes, he's there. And he's like, is it something I said? I'm like, that's him. He's the same way. He's just a shit show walking, God love him, like I send him sweet healing energy all the time. But the other day, I just happened to be going to the bathroom. And when I turned around, to flush the toilet, I look out the window and he had his boot open, his back, what do you call it? The boot. And I see him pull out a bottle of wine and he kind of looks around and it's like a screw top and I see him chugging it down and I'm like, oh, and I was like, oh my goodness. Now there could be water in there, right? But my gut tells me no. So I said to Ed later that day, I said, Bob was here. And he's like, oh yeah. And I go, yeah. I go, now I know I don't like being around him because he's so nice and he's genuinely like really sweet, but he's like that guy who's like, you're like, you can't do this or that. And he'd be like, oh, okay, well, but that's not good for me, because I have to take care of like, he's just like on his own fucking wavelength, man. Like he's in his own universe. He really genuinely, I don't feel like ill will or malice, but he's also like, he knows he's a shit show. Do you know what I mean? So he kind of plays the victim and stupid a lot, but he's not. And so, but it's like kicking a puppy, like, what are you going to do? Like he pisses on your shoe and you're like, well, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? He's a fucking puppy. It's like, that's how I feel with him. He's just so like low level consciousness that it's like, that's just who he is. That's who he is right now in this world, in this lifetime. He may never ever change in this lifetime and die like that. Probably. But I said to Ed, I go, that's concerning. And I told Ed that he was drinking. He's like, no. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, that makes so much sense. I go, oh, dude, it makes so much sense. And I go, and why I don't want him here and why I don't like his energy here. Or like the day when my landlord brought the package over and she was drunk. I'm like, I grew up around drunk people my whole life. I was a drunk for a big portion of my adult life. So I just don't want to be around it. I don't care what people do. I don't care. I just don't want to be around it anymore. And I just realized I'm like, something's got to give and something's got to break because the last 28 days and being here mostly, like not really leaving that much, just like a few day trips here and there, is very eye-opening for me and about myself. I really thought when this was over, like I thought I'm going to wake up each day and I'm going to do this, but it seemed like the more I tried to be this like perfect teacher and to wake up and have tea and all that, it's like it never went down like that. And now it was choices. I could have like said no to everybody and stopped everything I was doing, but I was really trying to flow. And when I tried to do that, it wasn't working. Do you know what I mean? That's why the classes got later and later, you know what I mean? Where it was like, well, I guess everyone's watching it when they're going to bed or like at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And I apologize for that. Or Anna the next day. But I said it from the beginning, not to be selfish. It's like the whole point was me trying to like find my rhythm, whatever that was. And I think what I realized is I don't have a set rhythm. I'm not like other people. I just don't. And because I don't have children, and like Amber, I don't have another human being that's depending on me to be alive right now besides Baba. Um, it's like Ed can take care of himself, and even Baba could fend for herself if she had to. She's a smart animal. She are you kidding? Sarah loves her so much, she would just move in. That would be that, and they would just be fast. That's where she'd live out her days. But as you can hear, my voice is scratchy. It's like I've been literally been balls to the wall, and I have been relaxing and meditating, but not nearly as much. And so I realize like some major changes have to take place in my life, and I feel like this new moon's going to be like one of the most important new moons of my life. I wanted the Lionsgate portal to be like that, to have some grand, like Ed and I do something where like we summon the universe and we're like, bring us our house now. It'd be like some big, like, that's what I really thought it was going to end up being like. And then it just didn't go down that way. It's just like, that's what I'm starting to realize is like things just aren't going down the way I think they're going to go. And so what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not going to fight it. That's what I'm not going to do. And also the foods, how important they are. I started to get really lazy in this last week, and having sugar, it's made me more cranky. I'm not sleeping as well. And, and Ed too, like both of us, we eat the same foods. So if I'm eating it, he's eating it. And that's what I realized. It's like we were both kind of falling into old patterns, like shitty versions of ourselves. And that's, it's like when this is over, I'm going to, call him and be like, come home. Cause I'm like, you need to go camping and don't come home until I know. And then I was looking for something. I don't know why, but Spirit like made me look at his clothes, and I realized he didn't even have his jeans on. Yeah, he literally has one pair of jeans. He's that person. But that's because he wears work clothes, and he wears like sweatpants or like long underwear kind of pants under his jeans like all the time. So he doesn't wear his jeans every day all the time. He actually wears more like sweats and things like that. But he would bring his jeans if he was going to spend the night, because it's been getting down to the 40s. And if he went up to the mountains, it's probably in the 30s or the 20s. So, yeah, he'd be freezing his balls off. And I'm like, and I love him. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing made me realize like, look how it started. Look at the South Beach camping. Like how excited I am with my little, with the, can you see it? With the hearts? I can't see what you guys can see. That's how it started, like, and it's like, I didn't start, the 28-day challenge in the most loving, happy place I've ever been in my relationship to end it, like, in this, like, horrible, look at this, it's blurry, it doesn't even want to come into focus, right? It's like, no, I need to bring things into focus, but him too, like, I feel like, if he does want to come home tonight, then I'm going to be like, let's talk. Because I realized, I was like, as I was going over all of this, these are all of the songs that played. So the first one I told you, right? We got to get out of this place, the third dimensional thinking, behavior, being around people like that, because it's not serving us. We will be walking that tightrope the whole fucking time until we just walk away. You know how difficult, and you probably feel it too, because you're as powerful as I am. Excuse me. And if you have family members like mine, so many of my family members are super powerful and witchy. So like, they're like coming for me on the fucking daily. Last night I had this whole thing. My sister, I don't know what was going on, but she was feeling all of this guilt and remorse. She was missing me like crazy. She was bringing me all these images of us, like when we were younger, when we had like this one window where we really, really got along, and we were starting to become young, we were young women, and our relationship was really like becoming strong. And she's like, I can't believe you're moving away. It's like the best we've ever been, and now you're going to move away. And I was like, it'll be fine. And it never was again. And I think she's like, keeps trying to figure out like where we went wrong. And I think she feels a lot of regret about, telling me she never loved me and all that. And like, and I feel for her, but at the same time, I was pushing it back, and I'm like, I don't need to see this shit, hear this shit, feel this shit. She needs to go through that on her own. When it's time, I will talk to her. But I was like, right now, I'm like, no. So, so I get it. The next song was The More I See You, and it was love songs. The more I see you, the more I admire you, or something. It's Nat King Cole. Okay. And then the next one was a meditation music piece called Still, 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 The next one was Solitude. So I was like, Still can mean like still, like I'm still here, things haven't changed. Or are they saying, be still, be still, be still? Because the next one was from the album Solitudes. And that was like in the gardens and like, whatever. And it was like being in nature, like the whole cover of the album, like looked like nature. The next one was Whispers Among the Stars. And that was from the Alioea, Alioeah, that the angel. Um, but that was Whispers Among the Stars. And I felt like that was spirit saying, like, the angels are always trying to talk to us. Like they're in the stars, they're all around us. Like our ancestors are everywhere, they're all around us. And then it says and then the next one was at the end of the day. At the end of the day, blah, 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 blah. It's from Les Miserables. But basically it's talking about like, at the end of the day, you got nothing for nothing. They're like, and that's the life of the poor, blah, 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 blah. And then we're sacrificing and like, and our lives suck. And why are we doing it again? you know? Because that's what it feels like, right? Another fucking day. It feels like Groundhog Day. Bill Murray, I love him. Another Bill Murray movie. Then the next one was Ballads and Love Songs, and that was Barry Manilow. So I don't know if that means anything for you guys, but for me, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Barry Manilow and Elvis Presley are like the two like artists like that literally like bind the glue of my family together. I'm not even kidding. So I was like, wow. And I haven't heard Barry in a long time. Like we call him Barry Baby in our family. Like we love him. Like, we would get drunk at family parties and sing Barry Manilow. And my dad was a huge Elvis freak. So, of course, we all loved Elvis. Or I think we loved Elvis inadvertently, but then as we got older, understood why my dad loved Elvis. So, interesting. But I thought that the ballads and love songs was interesting because I feel like a lot of us are talking about music and singing again, but also us getting back to our heart center, our heart chakra, right? Like getting back to the ballads, the love songs, like not letting at the end of the day, getting back to the love, staying in the light, going away from what doesn't serve you. So they're like, if you hate that life and you don't like that existence, get the fuck out of it. Then the next one is, give me some truth. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. Remember, we had that one before from John Lennon. I mean, some of these I was like, you guys, I'm like, this was like crazy, crazy, crazy. And so that's called Give Me Some Truth, though. That's the name of the album. So Spirit's like, we're trying to give you some truth. We're trying to give you some pearls. Whether you take them or you don't, they're like, that's really up to you. And then the next one was Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual album, and Girls Just Want to Have Fun. So it doesn't matter who watches this or whatever, masculine, feminine. It was just about the energy of that, like, being like a giddy schoolgirl, and just like having fun and being unusual and being grateful for being unusual and being weird and being different and embracing it. The next one was sympathique, which is French. My French is not so great. But basically what I heard from Spirit was, I don't even know if it translates to sympathetic. It sounds like it does. But what I got from Spirit was like about the music, throat chakra, speaking our truth, but having sympathy too. Like today, when things went ugly with Ed, I went for the fucking jugular. I haven't done that in a long time. I was like, I'm like, did you invent all this so you can go cheat on me? Like, I just like went there. I'm not proud of it, but I went there. And I feel like it's because whenever he needs or wants something, he gets what he wants. And when I need or want something, I used to be like that, but I feel like now it's only like at his, like, it's something like that. I'm at his mercy. Who else am I going to ask to drive me there? How am I going to get there? Like, how am I going to, go there? It's like a 30-minute drive each way. I was like, and I know it's not about the drum, but what I realized was, because Spirit will gift me something, or whatever. It was more of like that whole thing had to happen because of the drum, but also about his dedication, because he's been going on and on and on about wanting a fucking drum. I find us one for a really good price. Like, why wasn't he like, oh my God, yeah, let's go get that drum? Like, what's going on there? So because he won't talk to me, I like go to like the darkest place, and that could be what's going on with him, right? Like he could be going there. That's what I felt. I don't think he's going to act on it, but his addictions still rear up. Mine have been rearing up, my food addiction. So, it's like this 28-day challenge was so good for us in a lot of ways, but it also brought up a lot of stuff for us to work with, shadow work that we still need to, that obviously like like Ed and I still have to address this in our relationship. This is big. This is a big deal, and my family stuff. Like, I have to let that go. I mean, when was it? Oh gosh, it went right down to it, day 15, which is the number 6, but it was on August 18th, which is the number 9. But love, loss, and sacrifice, right? We used, I said this one was a tearjerker. We used 3 oracle decks. Remember that day? That was a rough one. So, like maybe there's something that, so just go through them when you're having a rough time. I mean, there's so many things that we went through. We learned so many lessons, and honestly, I couldn't be more proud of us. Then the next song was Shower the People You Love with Love. And I was like, okay, show them something, So that was after the having sympathy, like sympathy for the devil, right? Our darkness, our shadow. We have to have sympathy and love our dark. We have to love our dark as much as we love our light, because they are our equal balance. This whole thing, this whole 28-day challenge, I felt like the lion from the Wizard of Oz. Oh, like, this whole thing has been, that's what the part of the challenge is how deep do we want to go, and how deep is your love, how deep is your love, how deep is your love, I really need your love. I don't know why that just came in, and they're like, all the angels are like behind me singing it. Oh, da, da, da. I can hear them on that. They're all like swaying, right? I'm so powered up. You don't even know. Like when I started this, like I was in this like hardcore, beautiful meditation where I felt like they were all touching my hands. I put my hands out for Reiki for this, and it was like they were all like coming through and touching my hands. Like when a singer is at a concert and she's going through or they're going through and the people are touching their hands. It's like, that's what I felt like. I felt, because all the energies felt different, and it felt like all the ancestors were coming together and they were applauding us, and they were saying, yes, it was a lot. We did a lot. We did a lot waking that witch. We did a fucking lot waking that witch, didn't we? So then the next one was Tom Petty. And I had heard Tom Petty a little before that, which I thought was really fucking interesting, because it's Tom Petty Tuesday, and today is the last day of our challenge, and it's Tom Petty Tuesday. I don't know when I'm going to start that. Maybe today. I don't know, but we'll see. So the next one was, you got lucky, babe, when I found you. And it's from the Heartbreakers album, and it says Long After Dark. And they wanted me to write all of that down. So I don't know if that means anything for you guys, or if that song means anything to you, but Spirit was saying, I'm like in there, I'm, getting ready. I'm pointing to the back of the house. Like it's so big. I was getting ready and I heard, you got lucky, babe. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, he should fucking feel lucky to have me. And then all of a sudden my ego was like, whoa. It was like my higher self was like, you need to get your ego in check. You are just as lucky to have him. He is beautiful. Why are you making him a villain? Like now you need to, like, it's like I needed to make him the villain in my story so I could be like, yeah, like I've been working so hard for 28 days and you should have got me that drum. And it's like, whoa. So like, where was my whole thing in that? Like, I could tell he was tired and he didn't want to go. I should have just been like, you know what? It's just a fucking drum, man. If you're tired, like, don't worry. Another one will come. Because it will. But we needed to have that little spat. Like, that had to happen. So we can talk about this, So if you're like, bumping heads with people, there's a reason why. And probably because you're not treating yourself or taking care of yourself enough. So then the next one was Taylor Swift's Safe and Sound. That's one of those songs I really want to learn. It's so good. I mean, so that was Spirit saying to us, like, you're safe and sound. Like, don't be afraid anymore. There is no fear. It's just, it's a programming. That was the 3D at the beginning of this whole message was like, it's programming, and we're going to have relapses, right? It's like the programming was part of our addiction. Like we don't even that's why a lot of people, like they'll start to change and they relapse because they want the change. They don't want to do the addiction anymore. They don't want, they don't want to, but it's just easier to keep doing it because that's what they've been doing. And for some people, it's like, if they've been playing the victim forever, then, it's like they have to take responsibility for themselves. And once we have to have accountability and responsibility, that shit hurts. Even now just telling you guys, I'm like, I know I could have handled it better. But at the same time, I allowed my lack of sleep, him being a brat about the puke. And because I said to him, I go, you know what? I go, because I finally go, dude, put some water in there or open the bottle. Really? And he's like, she puked all over the floor. I'm like, well, I'm up now. So would you like me to get up and clean the pee? He's like, no, I cleaned it. It's fine. I'm like, oh, but he needed to have his little fucking temper tantrum. He needed to go through that whole thing. But I was trying to say to him, I'm like, do you understand that, like, I don't sleep the same as you? And I don't know how long or how many days, moons, months, years it's going to take for him to finally realize that we are very different entities. He's that person that can crawl into bed at 10 o'clock at night, and I will turn around to go to the bathroom, come back, and he's out. He's 5 minutes. He's asleep. And he will sleep until he wakes up naturally, or if he's getting up for work, then he'll get up at like 6 or 7. But for me personally, it's like, I'm just like different, and we run on different clocks. And I'm like, I just wish that he would respect that. And I've been asking him over and over. And I'm like, those are the kind of things where I'm like, that's not cool, man. Like, you got to fucking, like, I take care of you, you take care of me. So if that's something that's going on in your lives, Spirit's like, you got 3 minutes. I'm like, oh shit. So then the next one was meditation. Meditation and healing. It was the music, and it was the 5 hertz. So if that means anything for us, I believe we had 5 hertz come to us before. So work with that. And then I'm on the edge of glory. Yeah, right. And then it was into the great wide open. Another Tom Petty. I'm like, what? So obviously Tom Petty Tuesday was coming for us. Love it. Right? They're like, now take what you've learned and go into the great wide open of your mind, of your consciousness, of your psyche as you go inward in this hermit energy. I'm going to post more, but I think I'm going to take a week off and not post anything on Patreon. I have tons of stuff to still post on my Lula's Labyrinth, but I think we need a break, and I want to really work on my board. So same for you guys. Like, maybe you need to go into the great wide open. Maybe you need to go on vacation. Maybe you need to go, be like, I need to go take 2 or 3 days to myself, or maybe you just start, whatever that means to you. Then the next one was, call me on the line, call me anytime, call me. Spirit was saying, call them, call on them during this process. I just spit. Call on them. That's what they're there for, right? Archangel Michael came through a lot during this reading. So, all right. And then Skyfall. They're like, trust that it's going to work out for you. Skyfall from, the 007 movies. Adele sang it. Let the sky fall when it crumbles. We will stand tall. Rise and something together. Let the sky fall. So, right? So those words mean something, Seek them out if you need more, messages through that song. And then it was non regrettion. It was the sparrow. It's called, that's what it's called in French, but the words are no regrets. Don't regret a thing, from Edith Piaf. No regrets, no regrets, no regrets, no regrets here, no regrets with other people. I've got a minute left. And then the last one was Born on the Bayou. So if that means anything to you guys, that was one of the last ones. And then we had Blue Moon from Billie Holiday. And then remember that that Earth, Wind, and Fire song where I did the dance about being yourself? Yeah. So that came on. And what else, Spirit? What was the other one? That's pretty much it. They just want us to focus on our vision board. Any other things you want to talk about? Rest, restore, vision board. We completed it. Now it's time for a new beginning. Thank you so much for being a part of this, you guys. I had a blast. Thank you for following this awesome kind of whatever it was today. But thank you for all your love, your support, your donations, everything that you do to support me, you, and this tribe. I love you. Until next time, blessed be. Oh, bye.